Hello, Year 6. My name is Mrs. O'D. I'm one of the maths teachers in Southgate School, and we're really looking forward to seeing you in September. It's been a very strange year, but hopefully things will be a little bit back to normal in September. But yeah, really looking forward to seeing you. Today we're going to give you a little taster lesson. In maths in Southgate School, your lessons last for 1 hour. Today's lesson probably lasts for about 40 to 50 minutes. For the lesson, you need to have some paper, you need to have something to write with, and also would really like you to have a red pen. If you haven't got them, go and get them now, and then come back and we'll get on with the activities. Right, our first activity is a mental maths activity. So you can do these activities in your head, or you can write them down. It's called a ski run. So you're going to start with the number 36. The easiest one is on the left-hand side. The hardest one is on the right-hand side. And you just follow the instruction and do the calculation. As I said, in your head, or you can write it down. For example, if you were going to do the one on the left-hand side, you start with 36, you add 4, gives you 40. Then using 40, you do the next step, take away 2. And whatever answer you get, you do the next step. So have a look at it. Pause the video, have a go. Right, now check your answers. See how you got on. Doesn't matter if you didn't get it right, that's okay. But you could have a look at the different steps and see how far you got. And maybe later you could go back over and check and see what mistakes you made. But well done if you did get them right. Do mark your work with a red pen. Now, talking about red pens, I'm just going to run through the equipment you need for your maths lessons in Southgate School. You do, of course, need your red pen. You also need a ruler. You need a black pen to write with. You need a pencil. You need a compass. You need a protractor, the instrument we use for measuring angles. And you also need a calculator, preferably a scientific calculator, because then you use that the whole way through to doing your GCSEs. So really important if you can get all that equipment before you come to Southgate School in September. Now, our first activity is about square numbers. Some of you will know about square numbers. Some of you might have forgotten. So I'm going to remind you. A square number is what you get when you multiply a number by itself. So 2 times 2 is 4. 4 is a square number. 6 times 6 is 36. 36 is a square number. In this grid, there are 7 square numbers. You don't need to draw the grid. What I want you to do on your paper is write down the square numbers you can find. There are 7. If you can find all 7, brilliant. Pause the video and have a go. Right, going to check your answers. I have them displayed there, but let's just check and see. Did you understand why they're square numbers? You've got 9 first, because 3 times 3 is 9. Then you've got 196, because 14 times 14 is 196. Then you've got 1. Lots of people get this wrong. 1 times 1 is 1. And the others. Absolutely brilliant if you got them all right. But if you didn't, don't worry. And as I said, you can go back over. You can check later to see where you made a mistake. I'm going to introduce you now to another maths teacher, Mr. Elliott.
Hi, Year 6. My name's Mr. Elliott, and I'm really looking forward to meeting you all in September. So today we're going to be looking at factors. So as a nice reminder, factors are numbers that divide into a number exactly. So let's look at an example. What are the factors of 24? So here's a little hint for you. Think of 2 numbers that multiply to give 24. So we know that 1 multiplied by 24 gives us 24. That 2 multiplied by 12 is also equal to 24. 3 multiplied by 8 equals 24. And lastly, 4 multiplied by 6 is also equal to 24. So these are all of our factors of 24. Let's quickly look at another example. What are the factors of 27? So here's the same hint as last time. 1 multiplied by 27 gives us 27. And 3 multiplied by 9 gives us 27. So our factors of 27 are 1, 27, 3, and 9. So here are some examples that that you guys should have a go at. So pause the video and see how you do, and we'll look at the answers in a second. Okay, so is 9 a factor of 32? No. Is 7 a factor of 28? Yes, because 7 multiplied by 4 gives us 28. And yes, 5 is a factor of 40, because 40 divided by 5 is equal to 8. Similarly, 5 multiplied by 8 is equal to 40. So, on to multiples. Multiples are numbers in a times table. For example, what are the multiples of 6? The multiples of 6 are all of the numbers in the 6 times table. So, I'm not going to read them out, but you can have a look at the bottom of the screen. Here are some multiples of 6. So you'll notice that we even go up to 600 and 606 and so on and so forth. So can you think of any others? So once again, I've got 3 questions for you. Pause the video, have a go at them, and then we'll look at the answers in a minute. So, firstly, is 60 a multiple of 8? No, because it's not in the 8 times table. Is 44 a multiple of 8? Also no, because 44 isn't in the 8 times table. But 48 is a multiple of 8, because 6 multiplied by 8 is 48. Prime numbers. So, what are the factors of 17? Have a little think just for a second. So again, I'm going to add that hint in. Think of 2 numbers that multiply to give 17. 1 and 17 is what you should have got. So 17 has only got 2 factors, 2 different factors. Itself, 17, and 1. So a prime number is a number that has exactly 2 different factors. This is why 1 is not a prime number. So before we go on, I'm just going to hand over to Miss O'D.
Okay, hi Year 6, it's Mrs. O'D again. I'm going to tell you about the next activity. In a moment, you need to copy this grid or write out the numbers 1 to 25 on your paper. When you've that done, don't do it just yet, when you've that done, then what I want you to do is cross out all the square numbers, or shade them out. Then cross out all the factors of 24, then cross out all the multiples of 5, and then cross out all the prime numbers. When you do all that, you will have some numbers left, and I want you to work out what the total of the unshaded numbers is. So when you add up all the numbers that are left, what do you get? So pause the video, have a go, copy your grid, write your list, and cross out the numbers. Now let's check and see how you got on. If you crossed out the square numbers, this is what you should have crossed out. 1, 4, 9, 16, and 25. If you crossed out the factors of 24, you should have crossed out these numbers. You'll notice you would have crossed out some before, but these are the ones you should have crossed out now. And you've got your multiples of 5. And then you've got your prime numbers. So when you cross them all out, these are your 4 numbers left. So you add them all up, and your answer should be 75. Well done if you got 75. Brilliant if you got 75. It shows you really understand these types of numbers. If you didn't, it doesn't matter. Go back and have a little look and see where you might have gone wrong. So we've looked at quite a few numbers. Just checking there as well that you marked all of that in your red pen. Now, the numbers we looked at, square numbers, factors, multiples, primes. Have a look at these numbers and see, do you know which or what they're called or what the pattern is? Number 1, number 3, number 6, number 10. What's the next number in the sequence? What's the next number in the pattern? If you got 15, well done. And if you recognize that these are triangular numbers, even better, because we're going to use them in the next activity. So I'm going to introduce you now to another maths teacher, Mrs. Lucas.
Hi, I'm Mrs. Lucas. I've been at Southgate School for 2 years and I teach all the maths that there is in school, right from year 7 up to further maths in the sixth form, which is the hardest maths you can learn in school. What I'm going to do now is test your knowledge of all those different types of number that you've just gone through. Some of you might have learnt something new, some of you might have just been revising. So the first thing I'm going to ask you to do is to copy this grid onto your paper. You don't need to copy all of the headings right now because you are going to pause the video in a while, so you'll be able to keep looking up at the headings, but just make sure you've got a 4x4 grid, 16 spaces where you can write a number. So make them big enough for your writing so that you can put a number in each of the boxes. I'm going to give you a minute or so just to get that copied into your books. Okay. Well done. So now you can see the numbers 1 to 16 on the screen. My face is covering some of them up probably, but you've got to put the numbers in the correct place on the grid. And that sounds quite easy at first, but you've got to make sure that the headings for the rows and the columns do match the number that you've put in there. So let's think about 9. Where could we put 9? So you've just relearnt, revised that 9 is a square number, so we can be sure that it can go in the square number column. But we've got to find out which row it would work on. So is it an even number? No, it's not. It is an odd number. So we could put a 9 here, where it's a square number and it's an odd number, as you can see on the slide. But is there another place we could put a 9? Think carefully. Hopefully you can see that it could go in the next square along because it's an odd number and it's also a number greater than 6. And that's why this puzzle is a bit challenging, okay? So you've got to know your types of number really well. You've got to be good at thinking things through and finding mistakes and persevering with the puzzle to try and get to the answer. So we think this task will probably take you about 15 minutes. And we suggest that you do it in pencil so that you can rub it out. I've got to admit, the first time I tried it, I had to rub some of them out. So get your pencil. You should have your grid already copied down. If you want to copy the headings, you can. So you're now going to pause the video and have a go. About 15 minutes should do it. Hi, so welcome back. Here are all the numbers in the correct places. So have a look at them, see how many you've got right. Double check. If you haven't got the same numbers that we did, double check your headings are right. Double check they match. So fantastic work, Year 6. Hopefully that challenged your brains a little bit. One of the things I'm going to do now is talk you through all the other things we do in maths apart from just our lessons. So first off, every week a tweet is sent out with the hashtag Southgate Maths, and that might give you some websites to go and look at or some other activities to do. That's as well as your normal homework. You might in primary school have done some of the UKMT challenges, and we still do those in Southgate as well, but we also do out of school activities with the UKMT, and you have access to online webinars that they run. My favourite is the Ignition Club that we run after school, and that's looking at all different types of maths. So we have cipher challenges, we have people coming in to present things or run games or activities for us, and we also try every term to go out on a maths trip, which is great. There aren't very many schools that take you out on a maths trip, okay? Here's another thing we've done for the first time this year. We were one of the pilot schools for some online masterclasses, where people could sign up and go and work with some professional mathematicians, people who do maths for a living, and work out how to make their own maths better. And finally, and really importantly, Maths PM. That's a weekly session we have after school, and you can bring your homework to that if you want to. You can bring your classwork if there's anything you weren't sure about at all, and the teachers there will help you with that. Or if you want something more challenging than your classwork, you can also come and ask us to help you with that. So there's some of the other things we do outside of lessons. And here's your final takeaway, your piece of home learning to keep your brain going over the summer. So look at these questions. There's just 10 of them. You can either spend some time now copying them down or write them down really tidily, but no calculators, not for these ones, okay? So you have got to write them down, write down your answers and show any working. And then if you bring those to your first maths lesson at Southgate, you'll get your first ever Southgate achievement points. So remember to show your working. We really look forward to welcoming you in our department in September in person instead of online. So goodbye, and we'll see you in September. Goodbye.